Thank you so much for inviting me, Peter, and thank you to all the organizers. And thank you, Mr. John Ewua. We had an interesting discussion the last time on TV3, and we hope to continue the engagement in the future. And I think I stand on the existing protocols that have been established, and I have some few minutes to talk about some few things. If the slides are ready, I think we can go on. Great. So this is the discussion that we have, and I want to, we have learned colleagues here and well-versed people who will be discussing the issues. But for the time being, can you go to the first slide? And no, like backwards. If I can, yes, next slide. Next slide. Thank you. So the issue of financial literacy is very, very important. And I like the participants, especially those from secondary school that are here. And do we have anybody from the junior high, the basic school? We don't have yet. Great. So the financial education or literacy should run across every level of our institution. And I think the group or this particular center is doing massive work. And when I got an invitation, I decided to read about some of the things you are doing. You are doing great. So this is from S&P Global Financial Literacy Survey. And if we look at Africa, the light blue or the sea blue you see there means that many countries within the sub-region are doing below 50%. Ghana, we are around about 34%, as you can see. What it means is that many people are financially illiterate as far as Ghana is concerned. Can we go to the next slide, please? And the worrying trend is that the poorer you are as a country, the more financial illiteracy you become. So there's a relationship between your wealth and the level of knowledge you have. And that supports what Einstein said, that we cannot solve our poverty problem with the same level of intelligence that we were when we created it. So we need a certain level of knowledge if we want to move ourselves as a country. And it starts with me, it starts with you, it starts with the old lady who is in a village somewhere. That oftentimes we talk about financial literacy and we leave it among those in the cities, those in developed communities. But a greater proportion of our Ghanaian society, they are in rural areas, which may not have access to these things. So if we want to move forward as a country and be able to create wealth for everybody, then we should take financial literacy an important subject. Next slide, please. So this is the current state of our financial literacy, like 32, I said 34, but it's actually 32%. But financial inclusion is around 96%. What it means is that a lot of people are getting access to funds, but they don't have the knowledge to manage it. So why do you put a gun in the hands of an untrained soldier? Next slide, please. Next slide. Last year, the private sector credit growth was around 145 or 46%. The number of assets. People are getting access. Access and financial inclusion is not a problem in Ghana. But what we have as a problem is the level of financial literacy. Could it be that the people who have access and do not have the knowledge are contributing to the non-performing loan that we have? That people can take loans and use it for birthdays. You take a loan for a wedding. You take a loan to buy a television without thinking about how you will repay. So it is important that if we are increasing financial access, we should be able to empower them enough to be able to know how to use the money and not just making the money available to them. And there's enough empirical evidence to show there's a mismatch between financial access and financial inclusion. That is to say that those who are getting financial access are also contributing to non-performing loans because they do not have the knowledge or the intelligence to manage it. And by the way, if you don't have access, you cannot contribute to non-performing loans. So you should be able to get access first before you contribute. So we should build the knowledge of the people that we are giving funds to, rather than pushing loans and banking facilities to them. Other than that, we will always come back to the problem. Next slide. Good. So this supports the earlier assertion that account owners often lack financial skills. The same from the S&P. That those who have access, they lack the financial skills to manage it. You know. And unfortunately, we don't invest so much in financial literacy. We invest in the career, in trying to expand access without investing heavily in financial literacy. And we leave financial literacy to NGOs and some of these institutions. Even GIZ invests more in financial literacy than some banks that we know. But we are the key players. You know, the banking sector, if there's high non-performing loans, there's loan default, you are more affected than GIZ. So how come GIZ is spending more? You know, and if we want an extensive report on financial literacy, we usually get report from international organizations rather than getting report from locally funded organizations. You know, so what it means is that we are not putting our money where the problem is, and we will keep talking about the same problem. It will not go. Yes, we know that there are a lot of factors that contribute to non-performing loans. We know the macroeconomic factors, but it is clear and abundant, it's evident here that the people who are getting access to funds do not have the knowledge to manage it. Okay, next. The cost of financial illiteracy. That's the reason why we have scams. Yeah. And those who fall prey to scam are those who have money. Those in villages who don't have money will hardly fall prey to scam. Let me give my personal experience. In 2017 or 16, I was doing an investment with First Bank mutual funds. Then I had a student in my class who was marketing for men's gold, blue marketing something. Then the guy consistently, almost at the end of every lecture, will come to me and say, please, let us manage your fund. Come and buy gold. He kept telling me I should come and buy gold. And at the time, I think First Bank mutual funds were paying around 30%. And men's gold a year was paying 120%. Yeah. And he kept telling me, and I have colleagues lecturers who were investing with men's gold. But one or the other, it didn't make so much sense to me. How can you pay 120%? What business are you investing in? It means that you should be getting over 200% on what you're investing in. And you tell me that your underlying asset is gold. And let's check the gold prices at the time. It couldn't have been that you are making that margin to be paying 120%. So I decided not to invest in men's gold and keep investing with First Bank mutual funds, which was paying relatively low. And I know learned people who work in banks who went for loan, took loans, and bought and invested in men's gold, because you'll be making an arbitrage profit. You will borrow at a rate of, let's say, about 40% or 35%. Then you invest making 120%. So by just sitting down and being smart, you will make free money. And we know that arbitrage, assuming that men's gold was doing a good business, we'll be expecting real interest rate to move over 120%. And as a country, interest rate has never moved above 120%. So mathematically, it didn't make sense. But those who have funds, educated people, they fell into men's gold trap. Yes, there are other uneducated or financial illiterate, purely illiterate people who also fell to these things. So if we do not educate people, there will be increased, their vulnerability to these scams and fraud will continue, and the financial sector will be the one to suffer. So imagine somebody borrow from a main commercial bank and invest in men's gold and the money locked up. The bank is going to suffer in the long run. Then there's poor financial planning. That is why we have people who are going on retirement and they keep changing their date of birth so that they will keep working because there hasn't been any planning, you know. And last week or this week, the president or the mentioned that there will be no post-retirement contract. And a lot of people agitated. If I plan well, you should be going on retirement earlier before 60. Because there's not enough financial planning. That is why we have those confusion, you know, that there was a situation where two brothers, the one died, and so the white people have to go and escort, you know, accompany the person to the funeral. When they went and they checked, the age of the brother, he is younger than his twin brother who is dead. Twins, one is older, about 5 years older than the other. And you imagine that one was giving birth 5 years ahead of the other. But they are twins. You keep changing your date of birth because you don't want to go on retirement. You've not planned properly. And there are mixed opportunities. You know, you even don't know the opportunity that exists in your environment. And it's financial literacy that will expose you to some of these things. Next slide, please. So how do we cure this? Invest in financial literacy. The government must see it as an important part, you know. And institutions like the Ghana Association of Banks, although you are doing well, but I think there's more that can be done in terms of enhancing financial education. The next slide, please. Next, please. Good. Now, this is a tested principle that I have witnessed, and I want to suggest that if there's a way that we can formalize it, investment clubs in secondary schools and universities. The reason why I didn't invest in men's gold is because of investment clubs. When I was in the university, I started an investment club, and this investment club is where the students are the managers of the fund. They take financial education. No matter your degrees in finance, if you don't practice it, you will not be financially literate. And most of the practical financial literacy you know or you need is not in textbooks. It is very practical. So we should encourage people to learn by doing. So this is how the concept of investment club works. You will put a group of about maximum 20. You know, the larger the group, the more troubles you will have. So either 10 or 20. Then you will ask them to invest money or save money for investment, money they can spare. Currently, let's say 1 cedi will not cost so much. So whether weekly or monthly, depending on the strength of the group, you decide to put a cedi aside. You know, then you open a mutual fund account or something, fixed deposit. And every one of the group is part or investing in that particular mutual fund. They take the financial decisions. They decide what to be done and what not to be done. When I was in school, I started something like that. And we saved and we were investing in mutual funds. Then somebody brought an idea to us around 2008, 2009 there. Brought an idea that there is a company called U.S. Tilapia. How many of you heard about U.S. Tilapia? U.S. Tilapia at the time, you know. It appears almost every 5 years there's a grand scam that comes. So the group, we decided that, okay, they were paid about 80 to 100% at the time, you know. So we decided to invest in U.S. Tilapia. So we took the money, we went to First Bank, said, no, we want an investment which can pay us high. You are paying us about 27%. We are not interested. So we took the money and invested in U.S. Tilapia as an investment club. Then for some years, about a year or two, when we got, they used to have an office around East Legon. We went there, they told us all the nice things, and it made a lot of sense to us. We invested there. Year 1, year 2, we're going for our money. The office has disappeared. It was not there. So I got my first financial literacy early in my life. So I couldn't have fallen to men's gold. Because men's gold mimic all the sentence of U.S. Tilapia. If we do not allow people to make the mistakes whilst they are in school, they now become bank managers and they experiment with people's money. Problems that they've never solved before, they will be doing it on a grand scale. So investment clubs is one of the ways that young people can learn about investing by doing. Yes, next please. Next slide. So this is the structure of investment club. Let's close. Let's go to the next. I don't want to take too much of your time. We should try as much as possible to form a small group, do it, whether basic school, in the universities. These things should be encouraged. I was trying to do it for my university, but the bureaucracy, was too much. I couldn't do it on a formalized at the university. But if the 10 of you come together and you decide to do it, that one, nobody will hold you to anything. So I think as part of the things we are doing, we can spearhead it. And you are not the one managing it. They are taking their own financial decision. They are meeting the broker or the stock, whoever they are dealing with. And they will be responsible. And one thing about the investment club is that in every month, what we used to do is that every month you should have read a book on finance and come and share with the team. So it is not just about putting your money somewhere. It's also about learning. So one of the books we used to read was Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You have to read it. Then let's say when you come, you are taking a topic in there. The fun is not even the money you are making, but the knowledge that you have and the exposure that you are going to have. It becomes more practical. Next, please. So looking forward. No, please go back. That's my last slide. Go back. Back. No, forward. The last part, looking forward, please. Yes. Integrate financial education in curriculum, which we may not have control over, but we can start an informal way through investment clubs where the people will read, where the people will practice investment by themselves. And we also should not leave those in the villages. When microfinance came, they were doing so well in putting informal groups together to educate them. But their main focus was on their financial security so that you won't run away. Each member guarantee for themselves. They left the education part out. If we can bring it back, the market women, put them together, let them, we can meet them quarterly or periodically to give them some form of financial education that you cannot take money for business for funeral. You cannot take money for business to go and buy clothes. If we continually engage them in an informal setting, there's a way that I'm sure we will be able to impact this knowledge that we are sharing here. And can we also have a social media ad, a 5 minutes cartoon or something to appeal or to educate this Gen Z generation to have a certain level of financial knowledge? It shouldn't be that high, that we are doing a financial literacy month at the end of April that ends it. But we should have a model that consistently is running. And I'm appealing to the Ghana Association of Banks that you have to invest more in financial literacy because it comes back to hurt you as an institution if we don't invest in it. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Thank you so much. I'll ask you to do it better, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. Charlie, this is, wow.